If you are patient in one moment of anger, you will escape 100 days of sorrow. In silence, you master not only yourself, but the unfolding of events. Chinese proverb, attributed to Confucius. Chapter 1. The Leaking Vessel. The leaking vessel, your power, your very essence, slowly seeping away. This is not a battle fought with swords, but with self-inflicted wounds, a quiet devastation. Imagine a vessel, crafted for purpose, designed to hold. Now picture it, riddled with hairline cracks, microscopic fissures that bleed its contents drop by agonizing drop. This is your power when neediness takes hold. Understood what Machiavelli understood what most still refuse to see. The moment you reveal your weaknesses, you give your adversaries a blueprint for your destruction. They tell you vulnerability is strength, that open wounds invite connection. This is a lie designed by the weak to disarm the strong. Right now you are bleeding power, silently, constantly. This isn't about asking for help when you need it. That's strategy. This is about the deeper craving, the constant, unspoken demand for external validation, for approval, for attention that confirms your worth. You chase a compliment, you wait for reassurance, you build your decisions around how others might react. This desperate search is a gaping wound. Watch what happens when you operate from this place. Every time you explain yourself without being asked, you move from an offensive position to a defensive one. The moment they know you need their understanding, they have leverage over you. They see the hunger in your eyes, the quiet desperation for their nod, their smile, their word. You become predictable. You become a target. Your energy drains into 1,000 tiny leaks. The conversations you drag on, needing to be heard, the opinions you solicit, needing to be affirmed, the stories you tell, needing applause. These are not connections. They are desperate pleas for significance. Your actions become less about your true objective and more about managing the perception of others. This is self-sabotage by 1,000 cuts. Here's how you begin to seal those leaks. Cultivate self-containment. Stop broadcasting your intentions. Stop announcing your next move. Work in silence. Build in the shadows. Let your results speak, not your hopeful predictions. The world doesn't need to know your process. It only needs to see your finished product. If you announce your ambitions, people will either resent you, try to sabotage you, or demand to be part of your success before it even materializes. But if you quietly execute, there's nothing for them to grab onto, nothing to drain. Your progress compounds unseen, creating an unstoppable force. You become a mystery, and mystery commands respect, even fear. Think about the quiet observer in any room, the one who listens more than they speak, who acts without fanfare. Their presence holds weight. Their words carry impact because they are rare. Sun Tzu wrote that all warfare is based on deception, that the greatest victory is won without fighting. What he understood is that your personal power operates on the same principle. Conceal your moves, hide your true strength, let others underestimate you until it is too late. This need for external validation, this constant thirst for approval, is only one of the silent betrayals. There are other drains, other cracks in your foundation, waiting to be exploited. What are they? Chapter 2, The Approval Trap. The approval trap, a gilded cage. It makes you dance to others' tunes, a puppet on invisible strings. This chapter, how to sever them. The silent betrayal of the approval trap drains more than just your energy. It siphons off your very will. This constant outward gaze, forever seeking affirmation, turns you into a puppet of public opinion. Your decisions cease to be your own. Your actions are filtered through the lens of how others might perceive them, and your power becomes a diluted echo of what it could be. You become addicted to the nod, the praise, the collective validation. that fleetingly fills a void within you. This hunger makes you predictable. It makes you weak. Your adversaries, your competitors, even your so-called friends, learn precisely which levers to pull to steer your behavior. Watch what happens when you crave their applause. You self-censor, you compromise your true desires, you bend your principles to fit their expectations. Your projects stall, your vision blurs, your potential shrinks because you are too busy trying to be liked, to be understood, to be accepted. This is the death of your edge. Think about the countless hours spent crafting the perfect message, not for clarity, but for impact, not for truth, but for approval. Every time you chase a like, a share, a compliment, you hand a piece of your sovereignty away, piece by painful piece. Nothing remains. Here's how you seal this gaping leak. You cultivate ruthless self-sufficiency. Your approval becomes the only currency that matters. You make your choices based on your own internal compass, your own cold assessment of reality, your own long-term objectives. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary swordsman, wrote in The Book of Five Rings, that one should hold the world in contempt and think of himself as nothing. He meant that you must shed the weight of external opinion, that your self-worth should be an internal fortress, unassailable by the shifting winds of popular sentiment. This detachment is your armor. When you operate from this place of fierce independence, your decisions gain a clarity and force that others cannot match. You move with purpose, unburdened by the need to explain, to justify, to seek permission. Your actions become pure, direct, unstoppable. If you announce your grand plans, people will offer unsolicited advice. They will inject their doubts. They will subtly try to steer you off course. They will try to own a piece of your ambition. Their opinions become chains, binding you before you even begin. But if you quietly execute, if you let your results speak for themselves, there is nothing to critique, nothing to argue, nothing to undermine. Your accomplishments stand as undeniable facts, built in silence, impervious to the chatter of the crowd. This is how true power is forged. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, understood this profoundly when he urged himself, "Do not be distracted by the thoughts of other men, but look straight to this, to what nature leads you, both the universal nature to the things which happen to you, and your own particular nature to the things which are to be done by you." What he understood is that your worth is not a public consensus. Your power lies not in being liked, but in being liked, but in being effective, not in being understood, but in being consequential. This shift from external validation to internal conviction is the first step towards reclaiming your full, untainted strength. It's a harsh truth, but it liberates you. Every time you choose your path over their applause, you fortify your inner citadel. Every time you ignore their judgment, you refine your edge. This radical self-reliance is not selfishness, it is the foundation of genuine influence. The need for external approval is a subtle poison, an invisible drain. But there are other betrayals, other emotional vulnerabilities that are exploited by those who understand the game. What is the next one? Chapter 3. The Exposed Hand. Exposed hands? A fool's game. When you reveal your true intentions, your enemies see more than a plan. They see your ruin. The next betrayal is the exposed hand. It is the raw desire to reveal your true intentions, your deepest plans, or your hidden weaknesses. This isn't honesty, it's a strategic blunder. You give away your blueprint before the foundation is even laid. When you announce your ambitions, you give your enemies a target. They now know where you're going, what you're building, and where to place their traps. They don't need to guess. You have handed them the map. Your energy, your focus, your drive all become visible points of attack. Think about the countless times you've seen someone declare their grand vision, a new business, a career change, a personal transformation. The initial applause fades, replaced by quiet skepticism, veiled envy, or outright competition. Suddenly, every obstacle becomes a whispered, "I told you so." Every setback is magnified because you invited public scrutiny. Here's how you avoid this trap. You move in silence. Your plans remain private, shrouded in ambiguity. Let them speculate. Let them underestimate. When the time is right, your actions will speak. The finished product, the accomplished goal, the undeniable success, these are your announcements. If you trumpet your intentions, people will dissect them, doubt them, and often try to derail them. But if you quietly execute, there's nothing for them to grab onto, no weakness to exploit, no premature judgment to weather. Your work builds in the dark, gathering unstoppable momentum. Cardinal Richelieu, a master of political maneuvering, understood this deeply. He advised that if one wants to succeed, one should keep one's plans a secret until they are ripe for execution. What he understood is that revelation creates resistance. It invites interference. The less people know, the less they can obstruct. This exposed hand extends beyond your plans. It includes your vulnerabilities, the wounds you carry, the fears that haunt you, the insecurities that gnaw. These are not for public consumption. To share them indiscriminately is to hand over a loaded weapon. Watch what happens when you confide your deepest anxieties to someone who isn't truly loyal. That personal detail, that moment of weakness, is filed away. It becomes a point of potential leverage, a soft spot to press when they need something from you, or when you become an inconvenience. They don't forget your fragile moments, they catalog them for future use. Your personal world must remain a fortress. You erect strong walls around your true self. You show the world a composed, impenetrable exterior. Only a select few, those who have earned absolute trust over years, might glimpse the inner workings. Even then, you reveal only what serves your purpose, never what disarms you. The Deux believe that opening up fosters connection. They spill their guts, hoping for empathy, for understanding, for a shoulder to cry on. But too often, they find themselves exposed, their weaknesses broadcast, their pain weaponized. Empathy is a rare commodity. Leverage is abundant. Napoleon Bonaparte, a strategist who rewrote the rules of warfare, understood the power of the undisclosed hand. He kept his grand strategic designs veiled, often misleading his own generals about the true objective until the last possible moment. His enemies never knew his full intent, allowing him to strike with devastating surprise. He knew that the moment your opponent understands your full hand, they can counter it. The exposed hand leaks power, drains influence, and opens you to exploitation. It is a fundamental betrayal of your own strategic position. But there is another subtle drain, a silent thief that steals your time and energy. What is it? Chapter 4, The Invisible Chains. Invisible chains. They bind you tighter than any dungeon. We shall explore how your fear of loss makes you predictable, a puppet, dancing to the tune of others. The silent thief that drains you is the fear of loss. These are the invisible chains, not forged by your enemies, but by your own desperate attachment to what you believe you possess. You fear losing a relationship, a position, an opportunity, and in that fear, you become predictable. Your adversaries do not need to threaten you directly. They merely need to hint at the withdrawal of what you cling to. This fear makes you a puppet. Every decision you make, every word you utter, is filtered through the desperate need to hold on. You become cautious, hesitant, unable to take risks that could elevate you. Because the downside of losing what you have feels too heavy, your actions are no longer dictated by strategy or ambition, but by the avoidance of perceived emptiness. Watch what happens when someone is trapped by this. They stay in dead-end jobs, endure disrespect, or remain in draining relationships, not because they are weak, but because the imagined void of "what if I leave" is more terrifying than the current pain. They rationalize their stagnation, calling it loyalty or patience, when in truth, it is pure terror of starting over, of facing the unknown. Here's how you break these invisible chains. You must cultivate radical detachment. Understand that nothing is truly yours forever. Relationships end, jobs terminate, opportunities vanish. This is the natural flow of power and life. When you accept this impermanence, the fear loses its grip. What Friedrich Nietzsche understood is that the greatest freedom comes from standing alone, from forging your own values, independent of the herd's approval or conditional offerings. He saw that true strength is built not on what you accumulate, but on what you are prepared to lose and still stand firm. This indifference to loss is not apathy, it is strategic resilience. The weak constantly announce their attachments, their dependencies, hoping to garner sympathy or support. But the strong quietly detach, preparing themselves for any outcome. They do not broadcast their fears because they know such confessions are simply giving their enemies ammunition. Your strategy must be to operate from a position of, I can walk away. This doesn't mean you will walk away, but that you can. This inner freedom fundamentally alters your negotiating power, your presence, your very aura. When others sense that their ability to give or withhold does not truly control you, their leverage evaporates. Think about Julius Caesar. When he crossed the Rubicon, he knew there was no turning back. He burned the bridge behind him, accepting the total loss of his previous standing if he failed. What he understood is that decisive action, fueled by an acceptance of absolute risk, shatters the chains of fear and forces destiny into your hands. When you act from this place of radical acceptance, your opponents are disarmed. They expect you to flinch, to compromise, to beg. But when you move with an unwavering resolve, unburdened by the consequences of loss, you become an unpredictable, formidable force. You deny them the satisfaction of their perceived power over you. This is the ultimate betrayal of your own power, allowing the fear of losing something to dictate your will. It is a slow, internal bleed that leaves you drained and at the mercy of others' whims. Recognize these chains for what they are, illusions of security that keep you small, and cut them with the sharp blade of indifference. What will you do when your greatest fear no longer holds you captive? Chapter 5, Echo Chamber of Self. A gilded cage, you built it. This echo chamber of self, where only your brilliance is reflected, blinds you to the assassins already within your walls. Yeah. Another betrayal looms, one you inflict upon yourself by design. This is the echo chamber of self, a gilded cage you build around your ego, silencing every voice that doesn't sing your praises. You crave affirmation, you seek comfort, you surround yourself with those who reflect your own perceived brilliance, shielding yourself from the abrasive truth. This is a fatal weakness. This self-imposed blindness is a slow poison. It stops you from seeing threats until they are already inside your walls. It prevents you from recognizing your own flaws, turning small cracks into structural failures. When everyone around you agrees, when every word is a confirmation of your genius, you lose your edge. You become soft, predictable, and vulnerable to anyone with a mirror and a silver tongue. Think about the leader who only hears good news. They believe their own propaganda. Their advisors tell them what they want to hear, not what they need to know. Disagreement is seen as disloyalty, and soon the only voices left are those of sycophants. This is a recipe for disaster. The moment you insulate yourself from reality, reality prepares to deliver a brutal lesson. Here's how you dismantle this trap. Actively seek out dissent. Cultivate critics, not just cheerleaders. Make it safe for people to challenge you, even to tell you that you are wrong. Reward uncomfortable truths, because those are the insights that build true strength, not the empty praise that inflates a fragile ego. If you announce your plans and demand agreement, people will give it to you, masking their true thoughts. But if you quietly create an environment where honest feedback, even criticism, is valued, you will uncover the weaknesses in your strategy before your enemies do. This is not about self-doubt, it is about ruthless self-correction. Long ago, Socrates walked the streets of Athens, asking uncomfortable questions, exposing ignorance dressed as wisdom. He famously said that the unexamined life is not worth living. What he understood is that true knowledge, and therefore true power, comes from constantly probing your own beliefs and assumptions, not from having them validated by a chorus of admirers. The echo chamber starves you of this critical examination. It replaces substance with illusion, strength with brittle confidence. Your decisions become based on fantasy, not fact. This makes you easy to manipulate, because all someone needs to do is flatter your ego, and you will walk willingly into their snare. Consider Alexander the Great, a man who conquered empires. He surrounded himself with fierce, independent generals who were not afraid to challenge him. Men like Parmenion and Craterus debated with him, pushed back against his ideas, forcing him to refine his strategies. He did not always agree, but he listened. He understood that victory depended on a clear view of reality, not a distorted one. The flatterer is a silent assassin. They praise you into complacency, into arrogance, into a false sense of security. They confirm your worst tendencies because it serves their own agenda to keep you weak and dependent on their approval. They drain your capacity for critical thought, for self-reflection. This is why you must aggressively prune your inner circle. Remove those who only reflect your light. Bring in those who can shine a light into your blind spots. They are not there to make you feel good. They are there to make you feel good. They are there to make you formidable. They are there to expose your vulnerabilities before they become your undoing. The greatest betrayal is to yourself, allowing comfort to overshadow truth. Do not mistake agreement for loyalty. Do not confuse flattery for respect. These are cheap counterfeits. Demand honesty, even when it stings, for that sting is the signal of growth. But there is another betrayal, one that turns your own self-improvement into a weapon against you. What is it? Chapter 6, The Pawn's Gambit. The Pawn's Gambit, a subtle poison, your ambition. They see not a partner, but a tool. Your hunger, their opportunity. Learn how to break these chains. This betrayal is subtle, insidious. It transforms your very ambition, your drive to improve, into the chains that bind you. When you broadcast a desire, a hunger, you signal a weakness. You tell the world you have a hole that needs filling, and they will use it to drain you dry. They do not see a partner, but a tool. Your urgency becomes their opportunity, a lever they can pull to move you where they wish. You are no longer an independent agent, charting your own course. You are an asset, a resource, useful only until a better one appears or your utility runs out. A pawn has no agenda of its own. It exists to serve the king's game, to be sacrificed when strategically advantageous. You become the means to someone else's end, a temporary solution to their problem. They will extract your energy, your ideas, your loyalty, then cast you aside. Think about the subordinate who desperately craves a promotion. Every task becomes an over-eager plea for recognition. Every conversation a fishing expedition for validation. They believe their visible effort and desire will be rewarded, but it only makes them predictable. Their need makes them predictable. Their need makes them easy to manipulate, to string along with false promises. For Cesare Borgia, allies were never equals. They were instruments, assets to be acquired, employed, and discarded when their purpose was served. He moved through Italy, forging alliances based on mutual, yet always unequal benefit. What he understood is that displaying overwhelming need made you the weaker party, ripe for exploitation. Here's how you avoid this fate. Never show your full hand. Keep your true needs, your deepest desires, hidden behind a veil of calm self-sufficiency. Project an image of someone who is already complete, already formidable, requiring nothing from others. Let them wonder what drives you, what fuels your ambition, but never let them pinpoint a single exploitable craving. Control the information flow about your aspirations. Do not openly solicit help or validation for your next move. Cultivate an air of independence, as if your journey is entirely your own making, requiring no external approval or assistance. This makes you inscrutable, unpredictable, and much harder to turn into a piece on their board. If you announce your desperate need for a new role, people will see your desperation, not your talent. They will offer you a lesser position, knowing you are too weak to refuse. But if you quietly build your skills, network strategically, and then present yourself as an already capable force, there's nothing to exploit. Your strength speaks for itself. When you broadcast your need, you invite predatory behavior. People sense a vulnerability, a hunger, and move in for the kill. They will offer you crumbs, small tokens of advancement or attention, in exchange for significant concessions of your time, your loyalty, or your self-respect. You are trading your inherent worth for their fleeting approval. Instead, let your actions precede any declaration. Let your results speak volumes before you ever articulate a desire. Operate in silence, building your empire brick by brick without seeking applause or affirmation. This quiet power signals that you are not seeking, but creating, not asking, but taking. Louis XIV, the Sun King, understood this better than anyone. He engineered a court where every noble, every minister depended entirely on his favor, his grants, his recognition. He needed nothing from them, yet they needed everything from him. This absolute dependency ensured their loyalty was unwavering, because any move against him meant utter ruin, not just a loss of face. Your true strength, your unshakable power, comes from cultivating an aura of self-sufficiency. It comes from appearing to have no desperate requirements, no gaping voids others can fill. When you seem to need nothing, you are perceived as having everything. This perception alone wards off predators. But what happens when the need is undeniable? When circumstances force your hand and your desires are laid bare for all to see? How do you maintain control when the game demands you show your weakness? There is a way to bargain, even from a position of apparent vulnerability. What is it? Chapter 7, The Unseen Tax. Desperation. It bleeds you dry. When your true needs are laid bare, the powerful exact a price far beyond coin. This is the unseen tax. You face situations where need becomes a visible mark. When the mask slips, an unseen tax begins. This tax isn't just a direct exchange. It's the quiet erosion of your power, the drain on your resources, the diminishing of your worth. It is the cost of a forced hand, of exposed requirements. This is the unseen tax. Every desperate need is a leak. Energy drains from explaining, from justifying, from managing vulnerability. Your credibility suffers. Respect dwindles, replaced by pity or predatory calculation. They sense the void. They know you need them to fill it. Opportunities constrict, open options close. Your need now directs your path, not your calculated intent. Your true worth, what you bring independently, gets overshadowed by perceived deficit. You become defined by what you lack, not what you possess. Think about the person who constantly broadcasts their struggles, their search for help, their longing for acceptance. Every plea, every request for validation withdraws from their power. They believe they build connections, but they reveal desperation. This invites assessment, not assistance. Here's how you navigate this trap. When you must reveal a need, minimize its scope. Frame it not as an urgent wound, but a minor adjustment. You are not begging, you are optimizing a process. Make it seem a small piece of a larger, robust operation. Refactor your request. Instead of your deficit, emphasize the unique value you offer. Focus on the benefit they gain. This isn't about filling your void. It's about providing them an exclusive chance to partner with a strong, self-sufficient entity. What Steve Jobs understood is brutal selectivity. He famously said, "Focus means saying no to 1,000 good ideas. This extends to your energy. Every time you chase a minor craving or reveal a trivial deficit, you dilute your ability to focus on what truly matters. If you announce every want, people will catalog them, waiting for your desperation. They see you as a series of holes to be filled, each a point of weakness. But if you quietly identify needs, address them with precision, revealing only as a deliberate exchange, there is nothing for them to track. Even when genuinely in need, present it as a limited offer. You seek the right solution, evaluating options. This implies other avenues, other resources, other choices. The urgency is theirs to secure you, not yours to secure them. Warren Buffett once said, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." This applies directly to the unseen tax. A desperate person only sees the price of immediate relief, overlooking the immense value lost in future leverage, respect, and self-worth. They trade long-term power for short-term comfort. The unseen tax isn't paid in one transaction. It's a continuous drip, slowly emptying your reserves. You find yourself perpetually negotiating from a weaker stance, always giving more, receiving less. Your environment adapts to your compromises. This erosion of power is subtle. It is insidious. It does not announce itself with trumpets. It comes with quiet recalculations in the minds of those around you. They adjust expectations, recalibrate your standing, all based on the needs you could not contain. The truly powerful guard vulnerabilities, not by denying them, but by mastering their presentation. But what about the ultimate betrayal? The one from within your own mind? How do you fight a ghost? Chapter 8. The Puppet Master's Strings. The strings, those delicate threads, they are not born of strength, but of weakness. Understand how they are found, how they are tied, and how they bind. The ghost you fight from within, that gnawing emptiness, is exactly what the puppet masters hunt. They do not care about your dreams or your suffering. They only care about the strings your desperation offers them. These are not benevolent helpers. They are predators. And your exposed need is the scent that draws them in. They look for the open wound, the unfulfilled longing, the quiet plea for validation that radiates from you when you least expect it. They watch your reactions, probe your boundaries, and note every time you flinch from discomfort or crave approval. Your struggle to appear strong is a tell. Your attempts to hide your fear are transparent. Think about the last time you desperately wanted a specific outcome. A promotion, a relationship to work, a deal to close. Did you find yourself bending, compromising, saying yes when you meant no? Did you volunteer information they never asked for, hoping to win favor? That desperation, that urgent need, transforms you into a marionette. This is how they operate. They do not rush. They identify your hunger, then offer a tiny morsel, just enough to keep you hooked, never enough to satisfy. They observe you circling, waiting for you, to exhaust yourself trying to reach a goal you believe only they can provide. They create an illusion of scarcity around the very thing you seek. Your overt need gives them control. They will subtly shift the goalpost, demand more of your time, your energy, your resources, because they know you will pay the price. They know you will keep coming back, believing that this time, their promise will finally be real. This slow extraction drains you completely. What Ivan the Terrible understood is that visible fear was an invitation to dominate. He saw that weakness, once exposed, made a subject malleable, ready to be shaped to his will. The tyrant in your life operates on the same principle, seeing your expressed need as a surrender, an opening to take charge of your direction. If you broadcast your desires, if you constantly seek external fulfillment, you invite manipulation. People will offer you false solutions, temporary fixes, all designed to keep you orbiting their agenda, not achieving your own. They will dangle the carrot, knowing you are too desperate to see the stick behind their back. But if you cultivate self-containment, If you learn to meet your own fundamental needs, there is nothing for them to exploit. Your quiet power becomes an impenetrable shield. They cannot pull strings that do not exist. Your internal strength starves their external control. Genghis Khan, the legendary conqueror, knew that true power began with control over oneself, not just over one's enemies. He understood that an unmastered impulse, a craving for external approval, could be a greater vulnerability than any physical wound. His warriors were taught discipline, not just in battle, but in their minds. When you master your own cravings, when you refuse to let an external outcome dictate your peace, you reclaim your autonomy. Your silence becomes a weapon. Your self-sufficiency is a threat to their game. They can no longer predict your moves, because your motivations are no longer external, no longer obvious to their probing. They will try to provoke you, to make you show your hand, to force you back into a position of overt need. Do not flinch. Do not react. Stay still, observe their moves, and understand that their attempts to pull your strings are simply proof that they no longer have purchase. This is the ultimate reversal. You become the observer. They become the ones scrambling for leverage. Your calm, unyielding posture dismantles their entire strategy. The puppet masters cannot manipulate a void. The quiet revolution begins within, but its impact ripples outward. It changes not just how others see you, but how they can interact with you. It redefines your every encounter, making you the architect of your own responses. Now, consider the whispers inside your own head, the ones that tell you you're not enough, that you need something else to complete you. How do these internal voices become their most potent weapons? What happens when you turn these whispers into your greatest strengths? Chapter 9, The Empty-Throned. The empty-throned, a king's greatest weakness isn't his enemies, but himself. When your core is hollow, every move becomes a desperate plea for approval. You can build an empire, command armies, sway nations. You can accumulate fortunes, climb to impossible heights, possess everything they envy. But if your internal well is dry, if your sense of worth clings to external acclaim, that throne is empty. It is a hollow victory. Your power, no matter how grand, rests on shifting sand, ready to collapse with the next wave of disapproval. This internal neediness leaves you vulnerable. Every decision you make, every word you speak, is filtered through the desperate hunger for their applause, their validation, their acceptance. This isn't power. This is a gilded cage, magnificent on the outside, but built by the opinions of others. You become a slave to perception, always performing, always seeking approval, never truly resting in your own skin. Watch what happens when someone reaches the peak of success, yet cannot stop chasing the next accolade, the next headline. Their accomplishments feel like a fragile shield, not a solid wall. They are constantly looking over their shoulder, fearful of the quiet judgment, the shift in the wind. They might have legions of followers, but internally they are always alone, always lacking. Their achievements are a constant demand for more. Here's how you dismantle this illusion. You build your empire from the inside out. You cultivate an unshakable inner core that does not depend on external praise or condemnation. This means distinguishing between genuine ambition and the gnawing hunger for public adoration. You do the work, you achieve the goals, not for the ovation, but because it is your path, your purpose, your own measure of excellence. Consider Cleopatra, a ruler whose power was inextricably linked to alliances and perception. Yet, facing inevitable defeat, she chose to die rather than be paraded as a captive. "I will not be triumphed over," she declared. What she understood is that true power, the final dignity, rests in what cannot be taken from you, what you give or deny yourself. It is the sovereignty of the self, even in the face of absolute loss. Most people announce their victories, parade their achievements, and subtly beg for recognition. They live by the whims of the crowd, their mood dictated by the latest social media reaction or the approving nod of a superior. They are constantly performing, their power a stage play. This makes them predictable, easily manipulated. But you cultivate the quiet confidence of a ruler who knows their own worth, regardless of who bows down. Your strength comes from within, from an internal validation that is impervious to the fickleness of public opinion. There is nothing to attack, when your sense of self is not tied to their praise or their blame. You do not need them to validate your existence. Abraham Lincoln, navigating a nation torn apart by civil war, famously observed, "Nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power." What he recognized is that true character, true leadership, is forged not in the absence of pressure, but in how one wields authority when the external props fall away. It reveals whether your power stems from a solid inner core or merely from the adulation of others. This internal sovereignty is your ultimate defense against the draining impact of neediness. It makes you unshakable. But there's one final betrayal, a silent assassin that works from the shadows. It corrupts your very perception of reality, turning your own mind against you. What is this ultimate deception? Chapter 10, The Doctrine. Self-betrayal, the most dangerous weapon in any war. It's the internal enemy, the doctrine of weakness that makes you a pawn in your own game. The ultimate deception is self-betrayal, the quiet surrender to the belief that your worth, your capabilities, your very identity is a function of external validation. It's the whisper in your mind that tells you that you need their approval, their acceptance, their recognition to be whole. This is the final and most insidious leak, a hole you permit in your own vessel, draining your essence from the inside out. It makes you an echo, not an origin. This internal compromise means your decisions are no longer purely your own. They are filtered through the perceived reactions of others, twisted by the unspoken need for their applause or their understanding. Your actions become performances, your words carefully rehearsed lines designed to elicit a specific response. You become a puppet with invisible strings pulled by the expectations and opinions of everyone around you. Every act of self-justification, every plea for empathy, every moment spent trying to explain your choices to those who do not matter, bleeds your power. It diverts your focus from your true objectives, from the ruthless pursuit of what you truly desire. Your energy dissipates into the void of external perception, leaving you depleted, vulnerable, and ultimately ineffective. To purge this final betrayal, you must adopt a doctrine of absolute self-containment. This means severing the psychological umbilical cord that connects your sense of self to the judgment of others. It means cultivating an indifference so profound that praise and criticism alike bounce off your impenetrable core. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out. Otto von Bismarck, the architect of a unified Germany, once stated, "Laws are like sausages, it is better not to see them being made." What he understood is that true power operates beyond public scrutiny and sentiment. It means focusing on the brutal efficacy of your actions, not the optics or the emotional comfort of others. You become your own sovereign state, defining your own borders, dictating your own policy, accountable to no external authority. Build an internal fortress. Your true strength lies in a conviction that requires no witness, no cheerleaders, no sympathetic ears. It's a quiet knowing, a deep certainty in your own path, regardless of the chaos or clamor outside. This makes you unassailable. This makes you dangerous. When you operate from this core, you stop explaining, you stop defending, you simply do. Watch what happens when you cease to offer justifications, when you refuse to elaborate on your choices, when you present your reality as an undeniable fact. People will either align or they will be left behind, their confusion irrelevant to your progression. The illusion is that connection brings strength. The truth is that needing connection is a weakness. It creates points of ingress, vulnerabilities that can be exploited, emotional blackmail that can be wielded against you. Your power comes from being the one who needs nothing, who stands alone, complete and formidable. Elon Musk, a man who has built empires against overwhelming odds, epitomizes this relentless self-direction. He faced constant doubt, public ridicule, and immense pressure, yet he never paused in his pursuit of seemingly impossible goals. His power stems from an unwavering internal vision, completely detached from the ebb and flow of public opinion or the craving for applause. He simply acts on what he believes is necessary, regardless of the noise. If you fail to adopt this doctrine, you remain forever hostage. Your decisions will always be colored by fear of rejection, by the craving for acceptance, by the subtle tyranny of what they might think. Your life will be a reactive dance, not a purposeful stride. This is a life defined by others, not by you. But if you embrace this unflinching self-sovereignty, your power becomes absolute. It is a power that cannot be given, and therefore cannot be taken away. It is a power derived from an internal wellspring, constantly replenished by your own truth, your own will, your own unyielding purpose. This is the final command. Eradicate every trace of neediness from your core. Seal every leak. Cut every cord. Become a closed system, self-sufficient, self-governing. Your existence is your only validation. Your will is your only law.